Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Dog Style Fishing's Guide to Sea Fishing Rigs. In today's video we're going to be learning how to tie the free hook flapper. Now you can see this is basically the same rig that we tied in episode 1, except from it's a little bit longer and it's got an extra snood and extra hook on it. Again, this rig is best fished off of a clean beach. If you go chucking free hooks into somewhere too rocky, you're probably not going to get your rig or any fish back. But off of a clean beach, it's an absolutely deadly weapon to have in your tackle box. Let's take a look and see what we need to make it. First thing I'm going to need is some main rig body. So I'm using 60-pound line here, and this is made by Tronix Pro. And I'm going to start by measuring out. So if I want this rig to end up at 118 centimeters, which I do, I need to cut 128 centimeters, maybe 130 centimeters. It depends how you tie your knots and how much of a tag end that you need. But I'm going to measure out 130 centimeters. And what I'm going to do now, just like in episode 1, I'm going to try to put a little bit of an angled cut into this line. Here we go, I've got a little bit of a point like that. Now this is going to help when we need to thread on the beads and the crimps and all the other components later. So I'm going to start down the other end of the rig. And what we need to do is seal it up so that we can tie on all the other components and nothing's going to slip off. So the first thing we're going to need is a weight clip, also known as a casting snap. One end for clipping your weight onto, and then one eyelet for tying onto. So we'll thread it through that eyelet there. And we'll do whichever knot you're best at. So this is a knot that I'm doing. Come through the line, doubled it over to make a loop, and I'm going to wrap inside that loop 4 times. There we go, a little bit of moisture. Now we're just going to slide that knot on down to the component. And there we go, we've got a tag end there that we need to clip off. So there we go, that's the first component on our rig. So now if we go to the other end, we need to start sliding on all the other components that we need for the snood bases. So we're going to start off with a crimp. Now I'm just going to slide it down to the end there. The next component we need is a bead. Slide that down. The next component we're going to need is one of these small swivels. Now we can see this has got 42 pound braking strain. Which is more than enough for most English sea fishing on a snood line. So there we go, we'll slide that on. So down the end of the rig now, it should look like this. Weight clip, crimp, bead, swivel. And then we need to repeat the process with the bead and the crimp. So bead on first. And then a crimp. So here we go, we have the first base for our snood base there. We've got a crimp, a bead, a swivel, a bead and a crimp. Now we need to repeat the process 2 more times. So here we go, our rig should look like this now. We've got 3 separate snood bases to crimp into place, just sliding on the top of the line. The next thing we need to do is seal up this rig with a large rolling swivel on the top. So there we go, rolling swivel, and we've got 104 pound braking strain on this. So there we go, through the swivel, and we'll just tie a knot there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then just give it a little bit of moisture and slide it on down. We'll just take off the tag end. And there we go. We've got our rig all sealed up and we're ready to start crimping the snood bases into place. So at this point what I like to do is hang it on a door frame next to a tape measure. Then I find that makes it slightly easier to crimp all the things into place at the right measurements. So we're going to start off by taking our crimping pliers and we'll take the first set of crimps, beads and swivels and we'll slide it on up. And I'm going to start at 15 centimetres this time, so we're going to crimp it into place so that the swivel, the small swivel, is 15 centimetres below the top swivel of the rig. I'll pull my pin out there. So we go, our first snood base is crimped into place at 15 centimetres away from the top of the rig. So now we need to move down to our second snood base. So on this rig I want to have 34 centimetre spacing between each of the snood bases. So if we're at 15, I've handily written it down. 34 centimetres on from 15 is 49 centimetres. We need to crimp our last snood base into place at 83 centimetres. So now if I bring the camera over, see the top of the rig, 15 centimetres down, we've got our next swivel, 34 centimetres below that at 49 centimetres we have our next swivel, and another 34 centimetres below that we have our next swivel at 83 centimetres. If we have a look, I said I wanted the rig to end up at about 118 centimetres, so we're about half a centimetre shy on that. So that's worked out pretty well. So now that we've got everything crimped into place, we're going to need to add on our snood lines to the smaller swivels. So today I'm using £20 line and I'm using Sunset Amnesia. I think this is quite a good line to use for your snoods. Memory free, doesn't seem to crinkle up as easier as some of the other lines. So I want my snood lines to end up at 26 centimetres. So I'm going to need to cut it 36 centimetres, 38 centimetres to allow for the tag ends at either end. So there we go, I'm going to cut it there at 38. Right, now we've got our first snood line, we're going to do this 2 more times. So now we've got 3 lengths cut of the £20 line at 38 centimetres. We need to start attaching it to our rig. So I've got the rig hanging off the top of the door frame at the moment, which is giving me a nice working height on the bottom swivel. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie straight onto there. Again, just using whichever knot you want. I'm just going to stick with the same knot the whole way through this rig. So there we go, we've tied on, now we've got to take off the tag end. So now that we've got our bottom snood tied on, we need to tie on to the 2 swivels above it. So at this point I'd recommend, if you're doing it the same style as this, to move your rig down to about eye level. And this will give you a much easier working height to the next 2 swivels. So go ahead and tie on your other 2 snood lines. So now that we've tied all of our snood lines on, we should have something that looks like this. You know, just 3 bits of snood wire dangling. There we go. So now all we've got to do is add on the hooks and we'll have completed our rig. So I'm going to keep it hanging at eye level at this point. And this is for a little bit of safety, just a little handy tip here. So we've got a nice working height again to the top 2 snoods. Then we don't want too many hooks dangling below where it could catch our clothing or catch into our skin, so we're going to move the rig up as we tie on the hooks. So on this rig I'm going to add on some 1/0 Camazan hooks, and these are B940s, so these are just straight Aberdeen style hooks. There you go, see them there. I'm going to start by tying on to the top snood. Always moisten the line as you're going to pull the knot tight, and then clip off your tag ends as you go. So that's ended up a lovely height, or a lovely length rather. Take another hook and we'll just keep it hanging in this position here, and we'll tie on to the middle snood. Again, just take the tag end off. Now, like I was saying, at this point we now have 2 hooks hanging low to catch into us, so if we just move the rig back up to the top and pin it in there, that gives us a better working height to tie onto the bottom snood and keeps us just a little bit safer out of the hook's range. And there we go. So I can see already none of the hooks are interfering with the snoods below it. And we'll hold it horizontally in a second. We'll see everything should be hanging nice and equal. Everything's nice and equally spaced at 34 centimetres on a snood basis. So if I grab a weight and clip it on down the bottom here. There we go, we have a finished 3 flapper rig / 3 hook Paternoster. And like I said, all the hooks dangling nice equal length to each other. Yeah, this is ready to fish with. So if you found today's video useful and interesting, please hit that subscribe button and keep your eyes open for episode 3 of Dog Style Fishing's Guide to Sea Fishing Rigs. We'll be learning how to tie the running ledger rig.